Hey guys, I'm back. It's Sharpened Blade here. Today we're talking about my first Medford knife. This is the Medford M-48. So, before I get started on this is not a review. This will just be an overview. I just want to go through each of the knives in my collection and talk about them, say what I like about them, say what I don't like about them, and there's really not going to be much technical stuff, like no stats and specs and stuff. If you want to see what any of those are, you can look them up on the internet. But for right now, I'm just going to talk about the knife and what I like about it, what I don't like about it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through three main things here that I find important to me about a knife. Is the design. That's the number one thing, the design. I have to like the way the knife looks in order for me to buy it. Second thing is ergonomics. It's got to be comfortable in use in order for me to want to use it and therefore keep it around. And the third thing is action. Action used to be the most important thing to me. Now I don't really fidget with my knives anymore. I just kind of either cut with them or look at them. So first off, the design. Now this isn't, basically it's a rectangle with a blade. So it's not the most intricate design ever, especially compared to some of the other knives that Medford has. But I still like it. It's still pretty cool looking. This is it's either DLC or PVD coating on blade, and then aluminum on the show scale, and then titanium on the spring side or the lock side. Pretty sure it's a titanium clip. I can find that out easily enough. I stuck a magnet to it, so it was a little magnetic, so yeah, I'm not sure. It could be a stainless steel clip. Either way, it's reversible. It's a reversible clip. The way it's designed kind of loops over. Very deep carry. You've got an over travel stop here, and then is there a lock bar insert? Kind of dusty in there. Can't really tell. Don't think so. No, there's not. But there's no lock stick or anything with it. But anyways, so as far as the design goes, yes, it's a little simplistic, but it's still pretty cool looking. You can see lots of use on this knife. No real scratches or anything. I've used it quite a bit. There's no scratches, but it has kind of taken a little bit of the finish off. You see a little bit of a shiny spot there. But if that doesn't bother me, that's just use. If it did bother me, I could send it back to Medford and they would redo it for me, but I don't care. It's the way she goes. So it's a nice long slicey blade. And I think it's like pretty near 4 inches long. And then you got a little swedge up here near the tip. Focus on there. Don't focus on my face. There's lots of stuff for it to focus on. It's focusing on the background. It's focusing on Grogu. So anyway, it's nice and thin, nice slicey blade. Not all Medfords are shovels, like people like to say. So you've got a few things on here, some Easter eggs. You've got this track pattern on here from a Patton, an M-48 Patton battle tank. You've got on the back here, serial number, and then, is it going to show up? If it would focus on it. Oh no, I don't think it's going to show up. Man, why is it not focusing? Can I tap on it? Freak. Can't see it. The quality of my video is not great. But in here, there's 4 stars because Patton was a 4-star general. And then on the pocket clip, please let you be able to see that at least. Oh, why is that still? Let's see here. Can I tap on the screen to make it any different? No, not really. You can kind of see that shape. That's a dog. That's a bull terrier. That's Patton's bull terrier that he got while he was in England. His name is Willie. I learned all these things because of this knife. But anyways, yeah, lots of little Easter eggs on there. Anyone that's interested in U.S. history. So yeah, I really like the look of this. I have a few other Medfords in this same kind of colorway, blacked out with bronze hardware. Yeah, I just find that sharp, like the gold and the black looks pretty sharp together. Anyway, so the design overall is pretty solid, especially for how simplistic the overall shape is, but the design is pretty solid. See, you've got like it's not a backspacer, it's part of the aluminum show scale. What is it, monoblock or monolock or something? I don't know. But it's all one piece of aluminum here. It goes on there. Yeah, they're very, very good. Ergos are about as good as you can expect from a rectangle. It's not uncomfortable, but it's also not comfortable. It's not ergonomic, but it's not uncomfortable. Does that make sense? Because when I think of ergonomics, I think of like finger grooves and finger choils and stuff like that. But this is pretty straight. But I mean, it's going to fit pretty much anyone's hand. It's going to fit on this, and it's going to be fine. So it's not going to be uncomfortable. There's no hot spots. It's not going to be uncomfortable, but it's not going to be something you pick up and say, oh my goodness, this melts into my hand. Hopefully that makes sense. Next is action. So you've got a flipper, obviously with a little hole in it. And then you've got, I hope this is not completely out of focus, because if this whole video is out of focus, I'm going to be very disappointed. I think I tapped on the screen, and then now it's just never going to focus on anything except for me and Grogu. But anyway, you can kind of see the lock bar access right here. It's perfectly flush, but there's a little, you know, like the lock bar is flush with the show scale, but there's a little place to stick your thumb in there, right in here, little groove. So you just put it in there, boop, drops. So the action is pretty good. See if I can fail it. Yeah, I can fail it. Detent could be a little stronger. But once you get used to how much pressure to put on this flipper tab, which there is jimping on there, you can kind of see. You can see the jimping on there. So it works well once you get the pressure down. But yeah, the action is good on it. Now, what do I like and not like about the knife? Well, I like the design. I know I said it was simple, but I still like the look of it. The action's pretty good. When I first got it, it was not the greatest action, but it broke in, and it's the very best now. I like how well it cuts, and I carried it every day for about a month. And when I first got it, and because I didn't have any other knives, well, I had some other knives, but very few other knives, so I just carried this. I was so in love with it, I just carried it all the time. And so I got a lot of use, and it cuts very well. It's a nice EDC knife. It's longer for sure, but it carries really well because it's not overly tall. It's not very tall. So it fits in the pocket well and it carries really well. And the extremely deep carry pocket clip, which again is reversible, goes very far into your pocket. So all you see is just this little top part of the clip that folds over. So yeah, it carries well, it cuts well. The only thing I don't like about it, and it's really a non-issue because I could fix it very easily, is that over time the pivot screw loosens up and there's some blade play. Now once it's like, there's no blade play now. Zero blade play, no lock rock, no lock stick. The lockup is 25%. No issues there. But after about a day of flipping, it does start to loosen up a bit. So I just have my bit driver here. Not a driver, but it's like, it goes on a driver. I don't need a lot of torque for this, so it's a T25 So it just goes right in there, and you just tighten it up, and then it's good to go. It's no big deal. I could put some Loctite on this and not have the issue anymore, but I really don't like putting Loctite on pivot assemblies at all. I don't like that. So I'll just, every night when I carry it, I'll just take it out of my pocket and tighten up the pivot, and away I go. So yeah, basically that's all I had to say about this. It's the knife that started off my love for Medfords, so I'll always be very sentimental about this knife. I'm not going to sell any of my Medfords, but I'm certainly not going to sell this because this was the first one. I really enjoyed carrying it. I don't carry it as much now because I carried it so much when I first got it. If you want to get into Medford knives, but like the Praetorian and the TFF1 and all those, you know, those bigger knives are a little too big, I'd recommend picking one of these up. This is a good place to start. There's a few other ones like the Slim Midi and the Praetorian Slim. They're a good place to start if you're not looking for a super chunky knife, but you do want a Medford, then yeah. But yeah, this is a really good knife, and I'm really happy I got it. I'd like to pick up a second one sometime. One with just like just a tumble blade. Something a little bit different than this one. But not that that matters. Thought I'd throw it in there. But anyways, before this goes on too long, thank you so much for watching. Take care.